You're listening to Mountain Heartbeat with Joe and Rosa Hopkins, proclaiming the gospel through word and through song.
Hi, and welcome to Mountain Heartbeat. I'm Joe Hopkins. Last week, we played part of an interview that Rosa conducted with Alicia Marks. This week, we would like to conclude that interview.
And I don't think that she would have suggested that to me. But, I mean, the doctor was quite frank that if you're formed and you don't have a liver or you don't have kidneys or they don't function, there's no medical help for that.
Right.
So, this baby is not going to make it.
Absolutely. What would you say to somebody who is in our listening audience that perhaps has a diagnosis where they're saying that this isn't going to end well? And oftentimes they do suggest abortion. A lot of people are very upfront about suggesting that. What would you say to somebody who finds themselves in that situation?
Never take your circumstances out of God's hands. What would have happened if I would have said, well, I don't want to do this anymore because it's too hard? Because let me tell you, it was too hard. It was too hard. But then I wouldn't have been able to see God's hand work, and he would not have healed this baby. And I'm not going to say that he's going to heal every single child. I don't know why he does some and why he doesn't others. But never take the option away from him to be able to do that. You'll regret it. There's no good that can come from that. And so I would always just take whatever it is that comes from God's hand and trust him to heal if that's what he chooses, and trust him if he doesn't, that there's some purpose in that. That's what I would say. Psalms 27:13 is really a verse that I cling to, and it says, I would have despaired unless I had believed that I would see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And when you go through something like this, well, first of all, this was not my first rodeo with God, thank goodness, because it would have been too hard of a rodeo to start with. So there had been many years of seeing God's faithfulness, maybe not in this dramatic of a fashion, but in ways that I knew that God had intervened and God had been faithful. And even when I didn't get what I wanted, God had been good. And so never at any point did I think that God had been unfair with me, because he hadn't. And so when I got this, it didn't occur to me that God was being unfair to me, because I had seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. And when you have these great things that happen, like at the end when she finally came out and she was completely healthy, that story is something that I can tell people so often. And it's really been a great testimony for us. Oh, yeah. Because we can say, hey, look what God did in our lives. And people are shocked and amazed at this story. And for anyone who's considering taking options away from God by taking matters into their own hands, please don't, because if he were to heal, you'll take that testimony away. Think of this child. She's always going to have this story. She will always know. She's never going to have to wonder if there's a God. And she's never going to have to wonder if he loves her. And she's never going to have to wonder if there's a purpose for her, because she has this great testimony in her life that she will always know. And so she gets to start a little bit ahead of how everybody else gets to start, because she already knows those things.
Wow, that is really powerful. And I am very curious, when you said that people knew about your pro-life work, what were some of the things that you were involved in prior to this, and then what are some of the things you're involved in now?
Well, I have been before this, I had done work with Right to Life. When I was a teenager, I had done their speaking competitions. I had worked in their Right to Life booth that's at our county fair, just things like that along the way. But more recently, I live in Oregon, and Oregon's actually the only state in the country that does not have one law that protects women or children from the violence of abortion. And so I work with Oregon Right to Life, or Oregon Life United, and that's a PAC that's working to put Oregon's first pro-life bill on the ballot. And so what we're trying to do is stop taxpayer funding of abortion in Oregon. There's a federal ban on that. And don't even get me started on the money that goes to Planned Parenthood, because that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
But there's actually a federal ban on federal tax dollars going to pay for abortion. But there's not a state ban on it. And so in Oregon, we actually pay for 10 abortions every day, counting weekends. And there are no restrictions on abortion. So you could be technically in labor and decide that you want to have an abortion, and you could do that. That would not be against the law. So we're really working hard to get Oregon Life or Oregon's first pro-life bill passed here in Oregon. We're excited about that.
Oh, wow. That is exciting. What is the name of that bill?
Well, it hasn't even got a number yet.
Oh, okay.
The 2016 ballot. We tried to get on the 2016 ballot, and Planned Parenthood and the ACLU sued us, and so it got clogged. We have a referendum process in Oregon that's actually brilliant, and only 12 states have it, where you can bypass the state legislature. The state legislature in Oregon is very liberal. You would never get anything that resembled a pro-life bill passed. You couldn't put a bill to stop abortion in the middle of labor and get that passed through the legislation in Oregon. Wow. We're trying to just bypass that system and put it on the ballot so that people can vote on it.
Oh, great.
But you have to go through the state attorney general's office to do that. And we got sued last year. And so it got clogged, and they have to give you a ballot title from the state attorney general's office, and they couldn't do that because of this lawsuit. They came against us. So we have refiled for 2018, and we're starting again.
Absolutely. Well, I have a friend who's in the pro-life trenches. Her name is Janet Folger Porter, and she always refers to the persistent widow, that you just keep knocking. And you keep knocking, and you keep knocking. And, of course, we're knocking on God's door to open the power of heaven and basically to protect these little children. And that is absolutely amazing, the story that it's God's story. You're absolutely right. It brings glory and honor to him. And I'm very glad that you are a guest on our radio show today to share this message with the people in our listening audience. And I would just ask, where can our listeners find you online? Where can they find your story and other resources that you have available?
Well, great. So my website is ComeThirstyMinistry.com, and it's spelled just exactly like Come Thirsty Ministry. You can also just Google my name, and you'll find it. And probably about the third thing that pops up is this story. If you want to read this story, it's been published in a magazine, so you can find it there. But I'd really encourage you to go to my website. You'll find all kinds of resources there. I write and teach Bible studies, so you'll find free Bible study materials there and videos and all kinds of things. So I'd love to have you drop by.
All right. Well, that sounds so great. Thank you, Alicia Marks, for being on Mountain Heartbeat today.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
We thank you for joining us on Mountain Heartbeat this week. We'll be back again next week, same channel, same time. And we'd like it very much if you would join us online. You can find Rosa's blog at lifeinsidethehouseontherock.com. On that website, there's a contacts tab. If you click on that, it'll tell you how to get a hold of us if you'd like to book us to play at your church or event. You can also find us on YouTube, and you can find us on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Rosa Hopkins. We have a lot of pretty good free music on there, and we have a lot of back episodes of this and our other radio programs. We'd like it very much for you to join us online and to check all of that out. Next, we have a song for you. It's off of our first album called Give Me a Song to Sing. The song is called Come to Me, and I certainly hope you enjoy it.
Useless was the word they spoke to me. Forsaken was what I grew to be. I was not at home, weary and so all alone, until I heard my Savior calling me. Useless was the word they spoke to me. Child who was not supposed to ever be. Broken hearts, love forsaken, many of my rights were taken, until my Savior came to rescue me. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Come to the Savior, He's from everlasting, He changes not, and He is the best. For so long I carried this great burden of my life, unplanned and so mistaken. Even so, my Savior lives, and to me new life He gives. And when I cry, I know He comforts me. God sees hearts of those ones who are hurting. God sees all the pain and agony. And Jesus sees what can't be seen deep inside of you and me. He reaches out and says to you and me, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Come to the Savior, He's from forever, and all your fears He will put to rest. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Alpha and Omega, our great Jehovah, oh Jesus, let your name be blessed. You are weak, but He is strong and mighty. All your troubles you can cast on Him. Jesus calls out, peace be still. Your deepest hunger He can fill. Child of woe, your Savior calls to thee. Jesus knows about the load you carry. Oh, dear friend, He wants to set you free. You can lay your burdens down. You are lost but can be found. Call on to Him, trust and just believe. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Come to the Savior, He's from forever, and all your fears He will put to rest. Come to the Savior, you who are broken, run to Him and He will do the rest. Alpha and Omega, our great Jehovah, oh Jesus, let your name be